What's going on, everybody? It's be your boy
DJ Anonymous.
DJ Anonymous with another episode of Sports Biz Music, the podcast, and I got a very, very, very special guest on the show today. I got my boy Richie Evans. How you doing today?
My man Anonymous, what's going on, baby?
Man, I'm doing good. And yourself?
Man, I'm out here moving and shaking, trying to get to it, man. Just, doing what we do, I guess.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I appreciate you coming on the show. I know you got a busy schedule throughout your day, but I really appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Oh, man, it's love, and it's only right.
All right, so let's get it. So that's before we get into the questions and the conversation that we're gonna have today. I want you, to introduce yourself to the fans of the show, and pretty much it. And then let's get started from there.
Yeah, man. Like I said, man, it's your man Richie Evans, live and direct, coming from the West Side, Phoenix, Arizona. Out here working, man. Just dropped a new EP called Highly Favored. They got that super smash single featuring none other than my man Rick Ross, Mr. Rose himself. So, yeah, man, we out here, man, for real.
And before we get into that, and I gotta apologize because I had gave it a 7.5, and I had to listen to that song again. I heard the whole project, but I had to listen to the song again, and I seen the music video probably right after I heard it again. I'm like, nah, this is about a 9.5.
Oh man, I appreciate, man. Like I said, it's all love, man. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, the music got that effect. It kind of hits you a little bit later, but definitely appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? That rating in scale. So it's all love.
Yeah, because I tell people all the time, I like to rate my music to how I want to rate it, like how I feel. Everybody should go back to doing that. I think, we're going to talk a little bit more about this, but I think that's what's wrong with music right now. It's not really the artists and the music. I just feel like it's too much of a division between the fans and the artists, like the critiqueness, and
right.
That's how artists get better, over the years, and that's how fans grow to love the artists,
Absolutely. No, I definitely agree with you on that, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, me as being an artist, I definitely take heed to what, some of the, supporters and listeners and viewers, end up having. You know what I mean? Of course, everybody got their own opinion in choice, but, it's only right that we, keep our ears to it and try to utilize some of the information that they give, to make better music and push us to be better as artists.
Right. And like I said, we're going to go a little bit in depth in that, probably like in a few minutes, but let's talk about the beginnings. Like, what made you want to pick up a pad? What made you, like, what was that moment that you realized that, you could write and you could just rap, like, then you want to get into music? Like, what was that moment? When was that moment?
Man, truthfully, man, the moment for me was just, I want to say in high school. You know what I mean? Like I said, man, coming from the West, you know what I mean? Of course, I was a fan of a bunch of different artists, Nas, T.I., Outkast, and, what I'm saying, things like that. But, seeing that Dr. Dre wave and that Snoop Dogg and that Ice Cube wave, you know what I mean, really kind of put a battery and motivation in my back. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But also, like I said, just going through personal life, you know what I'm saying, and, situations also, played a role in me just writing down my experiences in life's visions that I was going through as a high schooler. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It kind of just helped me, funnel a lot of my emotions. I was going through the same, trials and tribulations as any young high school kid, coming from the, family broken home and, trying to get through high school and, taking care of your, moms and home front. I was still dealing with all of those major issues and situations as well. So, I utilized music as like an outlet, to kind of balance me out, and kind of give me a voice, that I can spread to the masses instead of going out there fucking shit up. You know what I'm saying?
No, I understand that.
It definitely, like I said, it definitely started at a, early high school grade that just, motivated me to put the pen to the pad and start pushing.
And when was like how was it like when you first recorded like your first song? Like was you nervous? Or?
Yeah, of course. I mean, truthfully, like I was nervous because it was my first time, you know what I'm saying, being able to really like go into a real life studio, you know what I'm saying, and execute on the dream that I had. But I will say, man, once I end up doing that and me hearing my voice on record for the first time, you know what I mean, just put an extra battery in my back. You know what I'm saying? It sparked the extra flame. You know what I mean? It sparked the extra flame and an extra motivation, man, for me to, you know, work harder and, you know, keep going, you know?
And then let's talk about because you know me as a DJ, you know I can't rap for nothing, but I remember the first time I did a mixtape. I forgot who was. I forgot who it was. I think it was Chaos from Ground Mode. I don't know if you're familiar with Ground Mode. They was big back in the day. They was from here, from Miami, but I did a mixtape for Chaos, and I was nervous because you know he was commercial. You know, coming from the crib, coming from Miami. And one thing I could say about just being creative is that once you creative and you in that mindset, like you can't you just super focused, and
Right.
And I remember my football coach told me one time. He said, "If you ain't nervous, you don't care." So
Yeah.
I always say
Right.
it's true. Like if you ain't passionate, if you're not nervous about something that you passionate about, that means you're not really passionate about it. So the love in music, I can see it, I can hear it, and that's why I got you on the show, and that's why I'm ask you all these questions. We're gonna have this conversation because I feel like it's similar, even though I'm a DJ.
Yes, sir.
But
Yes, sir.
But let's talk about before we get into like the like more deep into the music. Let's talk about Phoenix, Arizona, because you're the first person on the show that's from Arizona, that's from Phoenix. And I heard, different stories about Phoenix, Arizona in particular.
Yeah.
Kind of break that down for me and the fans. Like, how is it, coming up in Phoenix, Arizona?
Phoenix is a little bit different. Like I said, I was born in Philly, but I was raised in Phoenix.
Okay, I can hear the accent, by the way.
Yeah, love. So, Phoenix is definitely, one of the newer cities coming into its own. Phoenix is not a Miami, it's not a Chicago, it's not a LA. Like, we really didn't have all the resources and infrastructure that a lot of these other cities had. So some of the artists who really got potential, you know what I'm saying, and really got a little bit of traction to really try to stake their claim, really didn't have all the pieces together to help, you know what I'm saying, kind of spread it to the world. For myself, you know what I'm saying, I mean, right now, I mean, I am one of probably a couple people, you know what I'm saying, who's really getting national attention and getting national respect, you know what I'm saying, to really show, you know what I'm saying, Phoenix got some great musicians and artists out here. It's from a state point of view, you know what I'm saying, it's similar to a LA. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's similar. You know what I'm saying? It's just like I said, we just didn't have the notoriety that a lot of these other cities and states got. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, because I met some artists years ago, but they was from Arizona, New Mexico, area, and I asked them this because it's always been intriguing to me. Of course, I'm from the South, and out there, y'all consider Southwest from Texas on out, and that's I was asked. I was asked them like, I know y'all technically y'all West Coast, just like technically we in the East Coast, we in the Southeast. So I was like, did y'all have some type of influence? And this is a question for you too. Did you have some type of influence from the South?
So here's the thing for me. I always look at it different. Like I hear people always say like, Arizona's the Southwest. You know what I mean?
Right.
But to be 1,000%, you know what I'm saying? Like actual fact, if you really, look into the history books and just, did the due diligence, you know what I'm saying? Nah. Arizona is the original Wild West.
Mm-hmm.
The original. Like if you go back and start looking at like, even when it comes to like, like movies and shit, like Tombstone or you know what I'm saying, old, cowboy movies, like Arizona is the original Wild West. You know what I'm saying? Everything started here. You know what I'm saying? And then migrated further west or south. You know what I'm saying? So I consider Arizona the West. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's just my standpoint on that. You know what I mean? I just feel like, you know what I'm saying, it is the original West Coast. Like I said, man, this is where a lot of that shit started at. But like I said, a lot of people just haven't done the due diligence and understanding of knowing that, just because Arizona is not as big or as popularized as the LA.
Yeah, that's why, I'm glad you answered that question, because I figured, because I'm a history head too. But like states like Arizona, Missouri, Virginia, even like pretty much the whole DMV area. It's a lot of areas that, and even Oklahoma, that's like they in between. Like for example, Virginia. I know people that's from Virginia. Some consider it the East Coast, some consider it the South. Some say we just in the Middle East. DMV. Me, how I grew up, where I come from, I like listen to Missy, listen to Timberland, Chris Brown. All of them gave me Southern, they gave me more Southern, I guess vibes than of course like a Pusha T, because originally he's from New York, I believe anyway. But I'll say the Clip's first album to me is a Southern album, So, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, like I just like asking people, especially from them particular states, because it's just interesting to know, because y'all. Well, you said Arizona's the West Coast, but in many other people's eyes, Arizona is like that tweener. Like I don't know if it's the West Coast, it's the Midwest, it's the, but
South. I mean, a lot of people, like I said, they call it the Southwest. But like I said, if people really want to do the due diligence and look back into the history of it, Arizona is the original Wild West. You know what I'm saying? Like we are the West. So yeah.
And real quick, how old were you when you moved from Philly?
I moved from Philly. Like I was born there, and I moved there when I was 5.
Okay.
Actually 4, going on 5. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you from Arizona, pretty much. But do you still go back to Philly and get like some type of encouragement, but like I want to say,
like catch your vibe.
Yeah.
Catch your vibe. You know what I mean? Yeah. I go back, so half of my family live in Phoenix and half of my family live in Philly. Mm-hmm. So like, I go back every summer, Christmas, to go see my grandma, my aunt, my pop. Now, my pops live back there too. You know what I'm saying? So, I go back and forth pretty frequently. You know what I'm saying? It's just, like I said, that's just where my family's at. So I always, fly out there and tap in and just, get that love. So yeah, I'm back there frequently.
Man, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. That's Philly to Arizona. That's crazy. Philly to Phoenix.
Right.
So let's get back into the music. So now, how old were you when you first, I guess, got your big, I guess, like your big push into
big opportunity?
Your big opportunity. 'Cause I read that you met with the game, but I want you to go more in depth into the story.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for me, man, my first opportunity and my first big break was when Game, ended up hearing some of my music. You know what I'm saying? And that was shortly after college. So I would have to say I was 20, maybe 23. Somewhere of that.
My bad. What college did you go to, by the way?
Arizona State.
Oh, okay.
So I you know what I mean, I was, making mixtapes and kind of getting my local buzz, going on at that particular time. And Game was in Phoenix working on his album with Swiss Beats. What people fail to realize is, the first real crew that really came up to set up shop in Arizona was the Rough Riders. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if anybody too, really familiar. DMX used to live out, Swiss Beats, and Alicia Keys got a crib out there, you know what I mean? Like, Cassidy recorded his first couple albums in Phoenix, you know what I'm saying? So the Rough Riders had a real big influence and a real big presence, you know what I mean, out in Phoenix.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, super heavy, you know what I'm saying? Super, super heavy. After I forgot what was going on, but like I said, Game was out in Phoenix working with Swizz. And I was in a nightclub one night, and I seen Game and Swizz in the club. You know what I mean? I had one CD in my pocket from hitting the streets that day, and I ended up giving it to him. Game took the CD, and then 24 hours later, man, he gave me a phone call and told me to hop on the plane to LA. I hopped on the plane to LA, and truthfully speaking, my life changed from that point ever since. You know what I mean?
How did that feel, though? Like,
oh no, definitely was crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, at that time, Game was probably the biggest name on the West besides Snoop and Dre. Right. You know what I mean? And for somebody of his magnitude to get a hold of my music and for him to have some interest, basically, of course, excited me and also just reassured me that. The shit that I was doing was right. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like I said, man, we I end up going out there, man, and instantly just, he ended up taking a liking to me. You know what I mean? We ended up working on his albums and, instantly getting into the studio, and, I instantly became a student. You know what I'm saying? Like, Game has one of the best albums ever in the documentary. Like, no matter what nobody says about him as a person, as an artist, the documentary goes down as one of those greatest albums of all time. It's up there with the Doggy Style. It's up there with a Get Rich or Die Trying. It's up there with a Chronic. You know what I mean?
Bro, the documentary. I was telling this to my homeboys. First of all, the Game is very underrated.
Absolutely.
That's first of all.
Absolutely.
And second of all, the documentary is my top 5 album of all time. I could go back. When you could go back to an album, listen to it, never get bored of it. Like,
yeah.
And my favorite song from there is Dreams. Like, that's one of my motivated songs to play every time. I feel like, but man, documentary.
Yeah, Dreams is tough, man. Like I said, he put together a dope album. So, being a kid who really didn't have that industry resource, you know what I'm saying? For the next couple of years, man, like, I really sat behind him and really studied, man. I really, took heed to how he was putting his albums together. I was, listening to production and, listening to the themes and, how he was creating each particular type of record, as well as building relationships and networks with some of these producers and people that he was dealing with. You know what I mean?
Right.
But slowly at that time, man, some time went by, and he finally signed me to his Black Wall Street imprint, and I got to touring and building my name, and then eventually, man, it just all came crumbling down. Everybody knows that the real big beef between him and 50 Cent, and it started to affect not just Game but any artist who was signed to him. So at that time, man, there was a few artists whose names and buzz was ringing, ringing bells that had some other opportunities. I was one of them, and there was another artist named Compton Menace.
Mm-hmm.
I end up separating myself from Game, man, and end up just going on my mission. Started my own independent company. My own independent company called TEA, which stands for the Evans Administration. I set out to put out my first body of work, which was Highly Favored. You know what I'm saying? The EP that we just dropped, and just really get busy, man. And I think right now, man, like I said, my buzz is up, record is doing good, and people is really starting to take notice to me and the music and city that I come from. So I think that I'm definitely doing my job and putting my best foot forward.
And I'm glad you talk about your EP, Highly Favored, because I actually want to talk about that next.
Yeah.
Why, first of all, like, why that title? Like, why Highly Favored?
So I treat rap like I kind of put rap in the same classification and category as like the NBA and NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's like, everybody can't do it. You know what I mean? And you only get like a 1 in a million shot. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So for me to get an opportunity the first time was amazing. But for me to get a second opportunity, you know what I'm saying, and to do it my way and how I want to do it, really just shows that God got his hand on me a little bit. You know what I mean? So I just want, I thought it was right just to name it Highly Favored. You know what I mean? I think I'm blessed. I think, I'm very appreciative for the opportunity that I'm in. And like I said, man, God got me. So I definitely feel that was an appropriate title.
And of course, you got a couple. You got 3 singles from that. You got the Pressure. You got the Cannot the Hustle with Ross, and you got the For You with Vedo. Vedo, yeah. And that was a great. That song I really like, For You. But let's talk about Cannot the Hustle with Ross. Like, how did you and Ross like how did that happen? Like, tell us like the details.
Outside of just being a fan of Ross, you know what I'm saying, musically, I was always inspired by his business. You know what I mean? Ross has, shown time and time again that, he does, stand up business and does great business dealings. I was out in LA actually working on Highly Favored at the time, and he ended up having a show out there. And just ironically, man, we ended up staying at the same hotel. We got some mutual people who know each other and things like that. So it just kind of organically blended and kind of came about, you know what I'm saying, for me to really just meet him, you know what I'm saying, shake hands and, really talk to him and kind of give him my vision. After, like I said, him meeting and us just vibing, he wanted to hear the record. And shit, I let him hear the record, man, and he was like blown away. He literally told me flat out that, that record is something that he would have picked for his project or his album. You know what I mean? And that was another, test of myself to be, being like, man, like, whatever I'm doing, you know what I'm saying, it's working, because to get, the respect and blessing from Ross and, him agreeing to jump on this record really, really shows me that, I'm going down the right way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I ain't gonna lie, I thought it was his song at first, because Spotify, this the beauty of Spotify. Your song, I believe it was featured on his, because for me, like, how I listen, so how I listen to like my artists that I follow, because as a DJ, even though I don't DJ as much like I used to, I still love music. So with me, shout out to Spotify. I'm not sponsored by them, but if you want to look for new artists, I love that platform. And for up and coming artists that's listening right now, that's the best platform like to be on. But when I listened to the song, remember I told you I gave it 7.5. It was a great song. It was a good song. I just I don't like to rate songs too high.
Right.
But when I heard the song, it did sound like a Ross, like trap. Like, like that laid back luxury type music. And when I went to your profile and I started listening to you, I'm like, you different. You know what I'm saying? Like, lyrically different, especially in the era where everyone sounds the same.
Right.
And everybody, it's not like not trying to diss people and whatever, because at the end of the day, making music, I know it's hard. I've been behind the scenes. I see artists make music from scratch, and it's very hard. But it's just like, I feel like, a lot of artists, not a lot, but like probably, I want to say maybe 85% of artists today they follow the trend too much, you know.
Yeah,
And when I heard you, it was different. You know, it was a different type of sound. That's why I wanted to reach out to you too, because it was just different. But tell me about like the whole thing, like just making the EP, and why did you want to just start with the EP instead of like an album?
You know, I before I do anything, I'm very calculated. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, you know, I wanted to, you know, look at the pros and cons. Like I said, you know, I'm considered a new artist to the world. You know what I mean? Like I said, you know, Arizona is one of those particular cities that, like I said, niggas ain't really checking there for artists. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I knew that, you know, I had to put a great body of work together. You know what I'm saying? Something that was strong enough to gain their attention, to really just, you know, kind of be like, oh shit, what they got going on out there? You know what I'm saying? To you know, to get the respect. You know what I mean? Now I think that Highly Favored has done that. Like I said, you know, I got the record with Rick Ross, and you know, I also, you know, got a record with my man J Rock from TDE. You know what I mean? Called Pressure. You know what I mean? And got the female record with Vedo. I mean, to hear a person like myself going bar for bar, side by side with some of the industry best, really, you know, kind of just shows the type of artist that I am, and that I'm trying to become. You know what I mean? And I think that it's to the point to where now people is like, yo, that EP is strong. What's he got next? You know what I'm saying? And I did it that way, man, so I can, like I said, make sure that I, you know, when I drop this album, this official full-fledged, you know, LP, that people are prepared for it and know a little bit more about me, and you know what I mean, will instantly, you know, it's instantly want it because they know the type of music that I make and the caliber of music that I provide.
And I want to ask you this question because, yeah, you consider a new artist, but you've been doing this for a long time. You've been in the industry for a long time.
Right.
So you've been around. Well, it was pre, you know, streaming, and I like to ask every artist, every DJ, anybody that's in the industry, this question because I want to talk about this real quick. Do you feel like streaming hurt or helped the music industry?
Both.
Okay, and why?
I mean, you know what I mean, from a hurting standpoint, it's like, you know, again, like I come from the era borderline, you know, social media, you know, borderline social media, streaming, but also popping out the trunk of your car. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, handing out, you know, and the financial breakdown is completely different. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, niggas is getting a couple cents off of stream, you know, sometimes even not even that, you know, to, you know, $10 to $15 or whatever you was making your bread for. You know what I mean? To me, that is the downside of it. But the positive side is, you know what I'm saying? You know, if you can understand it and figure it out and drop consistent music and have a core fan base, you can consistently make some good change over time. You know what I'm saying? Granted, it may not be, you know what I'm saying, the big dollars that we used to, but it still can be a constant income and a constant check, you know what I'm saying, if you continuously find a rhythm and drop quality music for people to, you know, people to download.
Right. And then also too, another question I want to ask you is about the core fans, like the fans that's how to name it, not the core fans, but the this is a question I ask all the time. But pretty much, for example, like a Currency, right?
Yeah.
His fan base is loyal. Like, this man be dropping music like almost damn near every week, right? So, like, what's the importance of having that following, that core fan, like creating like a core of fans, no matter if it's 100 fans to 5,000, 50, 70,000 fans. How you, like, what's the importance?
That's the bread and butter of this whole industry, man. You know what I'm saying? To make sure that you got a, you know, a core solidified fan base to represent you, your brand, and your music. You know what I'm saying? I think that that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? Like I said, to get into the game and to have, a certain variety of people, man. Like I said, love and embrace your music, love and embrace your brand, love and embrace your merch. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Love and embrace your live performance shows. Like that's what we get into this game for.
Right.
And I think that a lot of us right now are getting, a lot of us are at that point to where we have generated such a fan base to where, again, you drop your EP and, you got, 100,000 people downloaded it or, whatever you want to say. And, you do some pop-up shops and, you got 200 people pulling up or, did a show and you got 500 to 1,000 people. Like, that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? I think right now a lot of artists is really, self-serve. And what I mean by self-serve is, like I said, man, they really not waiting for these labels to take half of what they what they earn. Mm-hmm. They getting on their own marathon, man, and getting their core fan base and figuring this shit out,
Yeah, that's true. Even seeing like a big comedian like Dave Chappelle choose, I don't know if you've seen one of his specials, his Netflix specials, where he had a stand-up comedy. It was in it was like a small bar or something in San Francisco in the Bay Area.
Right.
That filled up only like 250 people, I think, or 300 people. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, most artists, most creators should do that. Like, just, back in our day, coming up in the 90s, 2000s, our dream was to sell out, stadiums and arenas.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, like it's coming to a point where so many artists don't even, I'll not say care about the major labels, but they not waiting for that deal. They renting out a little spot that could fit 50 to 100 people, and that's all they need because it's more reachable. They fans is more reachable. They know who they fans are, and then it's a domino effect. So that 100 fans, they'll tell another 100, they'll tell another 100. You feel me? And I just think that's just so unique. And even seeing bigger names doing it now, like it's just so unique right now.
Right.
Very unique. So let's talk about Sports Biz Music, the podcast. So let's talk about sports. Now, me and you had our conversations about boxing, but I want to know a few questions. I want to know a few things about you in terms of like your sport, your interest in sports. All right. So you was born in Philly, but you was pretty much raised in Phoenix, Arizona. So are you a Sixers fan? Are you a Suns fan? Like, what? Like,
I'm a Lakers fan because I'm a Kobe fan.
Okay, respect.
Let me keep it above. I'm a, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to basketball, I'm a Lakers fan, but that's, like I said, that's deeply rooted because of Kobe. You know what I mean? So salute to Kobe. Football, you know what I'm saying? I am an Eagles fan.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's just in the family, you know what I'm saying? Like for a long time. College, I'm a Penn State fan. You know what I'm saying? Football as well. Boxing. They got that super mega fight coming up, man.
Yep.
Errol Spence and Bud Crawford. I'm gonna say this right now, man. Like I said, I've been getting a lot of flack for it, but I've been an Errol Spence fan, man, for a long time. I just think that he's just a different type of fighter, man. He's definitely hard nosed. He walks him down. So I think that it's hard for me to say this, but I think that Errol's gonna beat Bud coming July 29th.
Man. And you know the thing is, you was about to say?
I was gonna say, let me be clear though. It's tough for me to say that because, if you're a real boxing connoisseur and a real boxing fan, you know what I'm saying, Bud is nice. Bud is probably the nicest, you know what I'm saying. I think that this will be his biggest fight and test, and same for Errol Spence. But like I said, I like Errol, man. I just think that he's hard nosed. You know what I'm saying? All of his fights, man, I've seen him, physically walk people down. You know what I'm saying? Break them all the way down the size, and I just like the way he boxes. So, like I said, I'm running with Errol.
Man, a lot of my homeboys, a lot of us going for Crawford, but we love Errol Spence. Like, it's just one of them fights where you just want to see a classic. That's where I'm at this point. I don't really care who wins. I just want to see a classic fight. I feel like this fight is going to be. First of all, we had got the Mayweather and Pacquiao fight, but that was people still felt like that fight could have happened. It was 3 to 5 years late. This fight, Errol Spencer Crawford, it's the perfect timing. They still in their primes. They still young. They still could do what they could do, and I feel like this gonna be the first fight in many years that's like a big mega fight. So it's like you got one fan base and another fan base. Of course, they're gonna go. You know how it is. Like people follow Crawford, people follow Spence. It's gonna be that type of energy that whole week where it's gonna be back and forth within camps, back and forth within fans. But for me, for everybody else, boxing is back. Boxing is it's been back, but it's like for this fight to finally happen, we've been waiting for. I think it was supposed to happen last year. I think like last November, something like that. But then something happened or something, I don't know. But now you about to get the fight, and I'm surprised they're doing it in July. But you about to this is gonna feel like a September fight.
Man, it's crazy. So I just between me and you, man, I just got back from Vegas, and one of my people, man, Bud is working out in Vegas right now.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? And I went up out there, and one of my people, very very tight with his family. So they flew out there on the same flight to go have dinner and blah blah blah. And it was funny because they was asking me like, yeah, we might come hang out with you tonight. And I was like, I don't know because I'm going for Arrow.
But
you know what I'm saying?
But how is that though? Like, is it really that serious? It's like like any other sport. Is it like a not a double-edged sword, but is it like a how you call it? I can't name it right now. Is it like I want to say like a curse to hang out with the opponent? Like,
no, I just want, for me, like I wanted to, like like I said, I know it's all family love and everybody got their own, but I know that like they so he just started camp. I want to say like last week or something. Like I said, like the day that I was flying out was the week that he started camp.
right.
And I wanted just to keep it real. Like I didn't want to sit in front of my man and be like, we over here having dinners, popping drinks, or doing what we do, and then I'm over here telling you that I'm going for Arrow. I ain't think that was solid, so I had to be real from the jump. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I was just like, hey, bud, I fuck with you, but I'm going with Arrow this run. But he got a lot of family out there with him. You know what I'm saying, and he's super locked in.
Yeah, I can't wait for that fight. I cannot wait for that fight. So speaking of boxing, I want to ask you two questions. Two, I guess, top five. What's your top five boxers right now, and then what's your top five boxers of all time?
Oh man, boxing right now, Errol Spence, of course, Bud, Javante,
of course.
I like Shakur.
Yeah, Shakur. Yeah.
I like Shakur. You know what I'm saying? Shakur dope. And I'm not going to fake. Even though Haney had a lackluster performance, you know what I'm saying? I think Devin Haney is super skilled. You know what I mean? I just think his last fight, it wasn't. Even though he he won. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it could have went either way. He won, but I think that he's still a super dope, skillful fighter. And you can't lie. My man David Benavidez. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He from Phoenix. You know what I'm saying? And he been knocking niggas completely out. He beat Caleb Plant. He beat, hopefully he gets this match with Canelo. So, it's dope.
Boy, I think he might beat Canelo. Canelo did not look good to me that last fight. I'm not gonna lie. Because Canelo.
Yeah, fact. You're right.
And I love Canelo, but I don't know. I don't know. Like What he's about to say?
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. Canelo's a beast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I give him nothing but the high key respect. You know what I mean? But I think that, you know what I'm saying? I think that David may be a little bit too much for him, man.
Mm-hmm.
David's hand combo is mean. You know what I mean? And he's been showing that. Like, he's been knocking, he's been fighting the top guys and giving them the business. Like I said, I'm a Caleb Plant fan too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And Plant, he's something else too.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He broke Caleb Plant all the way to pieces.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, man, hopefully that they get this Canelo fight going on, you know what I mean, with David Benavidez. That'll be dope. But David, David, Errol, Bud, Javante, Tank, and Shakur.
Okay, yeah. And that's how I feel about he's still young. He's not ready yet. He's not ready just yet. But heavyweight, Jerry Anderson, he's my favorite, like, for this era. Like, but he not ready.
Yeah.
Not yet. Not yet. I don't want him to be rushed into fighting, like, the bigger names and stuff. Not yet. Give him like a couple more years and then he'll be ready. But that boy there,
yeah.
I'm paying attention to him.
Yeah. As you should.
And then who's your top 5, like, all time? Like, all time.
Man, I mean, like I said, I come from the era of Iron Mike. My father used to love Mike. You know what I mean? And Mike was a different type of person. I gotta say Mike. I gotta say Floyd. I gotta say Sugar Ray.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I gotta give them their respect for sure.
That's what, 3, right? You don't got Roy Jones up in there?
Roy. Yeah, I forgot about Roy, and put Roy in there, and you gotta put.
It's a lot of them boys from back in them days.
Yeah, facts. I would also have to say. Try me to Hitman Hearns.
Okay, and I feel like, looking back at history, he was kind of not underrated back in them days, but right now, as new fans start to learn the game, I feel like he's looked at more underrated. Like, he don't get talked as much, as the Mike Tysons, the Holyfields,
Right.
He don't get talk as much right now, but that boy. Remember my brothers, my brother, my uncles, and them. They used to always tell me, like, because I was a baby, like when Hitman was like, when he was that dude, and like I used to watch highlights. And I'm like, yeah, that boy was different. So
yeah,
let's talk about. I seen recently you was at VCon. What was that about? Like, what was that about?
VCon is, everybody know the motivational speaker and investor Gary V.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, he, outside of just business, he's a fan of me. You know what I mean? And, he booked myself, Busta Rhymes. I forgot the girl's, there's another girl's name out there from North Carolina, but, man, he got us booked out there, man, and we just went out and rocked in front of his people, you know what I mean? And I thought it was super, super dope, man. He does a conference with like Damon John from Fubu and Shark Tank came, you know what I mean? Drew Barrymore, you know what I mean? Jessica Alba. He really, he really has a big circle of, he has a real big circle of supporters in the mission. And, but it was just dope to go out there and rock in front of them. Rock in front of them. You know what I mean? Definitely walked away with a lot of new supporters, a lot of new fans, and it was dope.
Shout out to Gary V. Gary V. He one of my. I got the last book he did, and he's very motivational, especially for young entrepreneurs like ourselves. And you don't really get that a lot. Having like a multi-millionaire you know, to me, I think he already a billionaire. That's just me, but to have someone for that status to, you know, write books and like be more in tune with everything and be like, you know, like just not being like arrogant. You feel me? Like, I just feel like that's cool. You know, hopefully one day I'll meet him. You know, but like to have people like him, Elon Musk, like I just feel like it's a whole different era now of like,
yeah, absolutely,
information is more reachable. But how did y'all come together though? How did that happen? How did y'all like meet up?
Gary.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, he a fan. Like no lie, no. Like bro, like Gary's a fan of hip hop music.
Oh yeah, I know that.
Bro,
when
I met, you know what I'm saying, Gary, my nigga, he showed me his phone. Nigga, he was banging the EP right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that was just a different type of time, and it just shows, like, for me, like, man, like, you know, people are really starting to buy into your program. People are starting to buy into your mission. Keep pushing. You know what I mean? Like, you know, people, you know, a lot of people starting to give me my respect. You know what I mean? And I'm, you know, appreciating that. You know?
Yeah, man. They have like even Rory, from Rory and Mogul, like, all them boys, like.
Yeah, like that was a whole nother, you know, for Rory, you know, to be like, hey man, yo, like Buddy is dope. Mm-hmm. And like I said, man, you know, don't get me wrong, man, like on the West Coast region, everybody know I'm him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But now I'm trying to grow, you know, down south and east and things like that. And, you know, it's taking some time, you know, for my buzz to move that way. But it's definitely taking shape. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, it's definitely dope to have people like, you know, like I said, Rory and, you know what I'm saying, Gary V and Maul and, you know, Bootleg Kev and other people to that particular magnitude, you know, really, you know, fuck with my music. It's just a humbling feeling, and it's an extra motivating feeling.
Yeah, to keep pushing. So, like, you got highly favored out right now. So what's next after that?
Man, you know what I mean? Like I said, right now we got Highly Favored. You know what I mean? It's out on all y'all platforms. Make sure y'all get it. We got the Can't Knock the Hustle single featuring Rick Ross right now. Make sure y'all get that. Just about to keep working, man. I got another single I'm about to drop off Highly Favored called Quit Playing, mm-hmm. that we about to shoot the video for. That's definitely causing some summer wave. And I'm back in the lab, man. Like I said, I'm working on the album right now. I'm definitely locked in and loaded. I got some, you know, definitely going, you know, if you like Highly Favored and, you know, understood the magnitude of that, you can definitely understand, you know, how, you know, the album's going to be. You know what I'm saying? The name of the album is called The Purpose. And we're working on it right now, and, you know, we're gonna bring it to y'all soon.
Can't wait for that. And then 2 more questions before we conclude with the show.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself 5 to 10 years from now?
Man, you know what I'm saying? Just being a well-respected artist and brand and competing with some of the, you know, heavyweights that I, you know, look up to. You know what I mean? Like I said, you know, one of my biggest goals is to bring a platinum plaque to my city. Mm-hmm. It's never been done, and I want to be the first to do it. So, you know, that's definitely the goal.
And then I have to ask you this: who's in your top 5 of all time? Like rappers, like musicians, whatever you want to call. But to me, I gotta hear it. I gotta hear this.
All right,
and you gotta tell me why. A little bit of why for each. Okay. I'm ready.
Okay. Ice Cube.
Okay.
Nas.
Okay.
Game.
Of course.
Ross.
Of course.
Scarface.
Okay, and so why them 5? Like, why?
Because
let's start with Cube first.
Cube is one of the reasons why I even started rapping.
Okay.
Like I said, he's the one that I seen first that I, garnished the confidence and magnitude to want to do it.
Mm. And what about Nas?
You know what I'm saying? Nas was, you know, for me, you know what I'm saying, he's the person that I based my style upon. Mm-hmm. I feel like, you know, we just had a lot of similarities, like just as an individual. Like, if anybody that know me know I'm just a cool nigga and I do cool nigga shit. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I'm not a rah type of guy. I don't step outside of my zone too much to doing all the extra wild shit. Like I just like to do cool nigga vibe, cool nigga energy, and keep it solid every chance I get. So um, that's where the Nas part comes in. The game. Like I said, being, signed the game, man, he really showed me how to create a great body of work and, listen to certain productions. And, he really gave me the blueprint and expectation of the level of work that needs to be done to be respected in this industry. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Rose, you know what I'm saying? Ross, he embodies, excellence. You know what I'm saying? He embodies financial literacy. He
Mm-hmm.
embodies, what I'm saying, great music in the ear as well too. You know what I'm saying? So he's definitely somebody that I, like I said, learn from and take from. And Scarface, one thing about Face, man, Face always just had a very distinct voice
Mm-hmm.
as an artist. As being a dope storyteller, he's also had a very, very distinct voice. And I think that that's something that I possess too that kind of makes me, that kind of helps me progress is I think that I have a solid mic voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
because
yeah.
it's funny because I was listening to a playlist the other day, and my wife was like, I never knew Scarface was from Texas. I said, what? Of course he's from Texas. It's just that at the time when he came out, and even to this day when you listen to him, that's why so many people from all different regions just, they just listen to him because he's lyrical. Like him, 3K, they very different.
Yeah.
They not a typical, I guess Southern artists in terms of like country, like how it is, how it is in the South, like typical. Even in
Yeah.
the East Coast or West, you have the typical artists, But like when you listen to like a Scarface, even Nas, like Nas, I know you could tell he's from the East Coast, but certain stuff
Yeah.
he do and say, he probably say he probably from the West Coast, probably from LA somewhere, Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Same thing with the gang. Like a lot of them, a lot of the top artists that we all know and love, they all got that distinct, thing about them, that distinct voice, that distinct like style. That they from this region, they from the city, they from the state, but they global. Like everybody just they love them because they just so different.
Right.
But yeah, man.
Right.
You got any other? You have like any shout outs or anything before we close it up?
Yeah. Yeah. Just before we close it out, man, like I said, I just want to, make sure that all the listeners, man, I just appreciate your time and I appreciate you giving me, some time on your platform. Like I said, man, make sure you get the new highly favorite EP, out right now on all platforms. Make sure y'all check me out. Follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is Who Is Richie. And man, I just want to salute my team. You know what I'm saying? TEA, the Evans administration. I think I got a solid team that helps, make this go the right way. They work hard, you know what I'm saying, and just want to give them their flowers.
And I want to shout out you for coming on the show again. We were supposed to do it before. I think it was like a month or two ago.
Yeah.
But we finally did it. And I want to shout out your manager. I can say
Big Vic.
he, to me, like my experience, like just doing podcasting for the last almost 6 years. He's the most, when I have to deal with managers, cause it's a business at the end of the day. Sometimes you have to go through a manager,
Absolutely.
PR. To me, he's the most respectful, patient, like, hard working
Absolutely.
manager, like, that I ever, like, witnessed before. Like, and it's incredible because, most managers either be fast talking or they'll be, it's just, they don't want to make you feel comfortable, but he made me feel comfortable. So I got to shout out to him. His name Vic, right?
Yep, Big Vic.
Yeah, man. So shout out to you, Vic, man. I can interview you one day for sure, man.
Man, absolutely, man. Vic a good dude, man. And then, like I said, that's what's good about our team is that, man, you know, I just think we just got great people, man, with great characteristics do stand up business, man, and keep it solid. So shout out my man Vic for always keeping it 1,000 wow, for sure.
Exactly, man. And this has been your boy
DJ Anonymous.
DJ Anonymous with another episode of Sports Biz Music, the podcast with my boy Richie Evans, and we out. Peace.
My man, appreciate you.
No problem.